I am Bar Teachblade Reynolds, the author and teacher of ThinkLAD Critical Thinking Skills and an American Bar Association approved program law instructor for 30 years and owner of Tehachapi Court Services for 28 years and a practicing paralegal for 47 years. Here's a statistic that you may not have read about, but it's concerning and interesting, and that is that based upon a survey by Community College Daily in January of 2019, they took a look at an employer poll that mentioned something about new hires. What were some of the concerns that employers had regarding new hires? And these statistics are pretty telling. And these statistics, I just don't believe for a second, are the result of someone's deficit to learn. I think we've had a very liberal education system, based upon my knowledge of it for the past 30 years, that has precluded these types of defining capabilities that students should learn in a business world and in a real productive world that they must live and survive in and raise families in. But these interesting percentages state that 70% lack critical thinking. Employers have concluded that 70% of new hires lack critical thinking. 74% lack listening skills. They can't sit still long enough to listen and learn. 70% were not detail-oriented. They have no long-term attention span to focus and effectively communicate. 69% lacked effective communication skills. You know, critical thinking, when you learn it, it makes you want to read. It excites you because it's beginning to open up a new world to you. You didn't like to read before. But if you learn to think a process through, and reading's one of them, then that begets an interest in reading practically everything in your professional life, in your personal life. So what is critical thinking skills? It is what you do when you encounter any information either in your industry or in your personal life. For instance, if you read a code, there's a way to think that through. It's very organized to come to the correct conclusion. If you have a textbook, there's a way to read the textbook. There's a way to read the newspaper. There's a way to read a magazine. There's a way to read a school note coming home from the school for the parents. There is a way to read an employee handbook or to put an employee handbook together. There's a way to read a job description. There's a way to read an ordinance, a local ordinance, to determine whether or not, if you have more than 4 dogs, whether or not you need a license to run a kennel. Personal things within your personal life, within your industry, that you need to know, but do you process that information correctly to obtain the fullest comprehension of what you're reading? That's what critical thinking skills is about. That's what we're going to fix. It's not the problem of us that we didn't, some don't even know they don't know critical thinking skills. But those of us that understand the importance of it, we want to tell people that you are capable of reading and moving forward with your life and understanding that there is something bigger and greater in these textbooks. You need to just understand and be mindful of what it is that you are reading and reviewing. So let's turn to this handbook and turn to page 2, LAD. That's the mnemonic for linear reasoning, analogical reasoning, and deductive reasoning. He's such a nice lad. And there's only 3 ways to critically think. There are not 100 ways to think. Linear reasoning, analogical reasoning, and deductive reasoning. Linear reasoning relates to timelines. You're looking over an extended period of time, maybe a year, maybe 2 years. In some cases that you are working on, like Mr. Alfonso Rivera, he may have to look at a timeline of events that occurred or did not occur over an extended period of time. You use the critical thinking metric, linear reasoning. The root word of linear is what? Line. Timeline. That's the way you connect that. So if you're looking at what happened, what didn't happen but should have happened to obtain a different result, you use the metric timeline. Linear reasoning, line, linear reasoning. We're going to get to that. Next is analogical reasoning. When you're analyzing case law and you're comparing things. Back to linear reasoning. You know when employers need linear reasoning? When they're looking to give pay increases. They've got to look at conduct or the lack thereof over an extended period of time to arrive at a logical conclusion that this person earned a pay increase or did not. So and even it did my child do their homework this week? Did my child clean up their room? What is the event that occurred that is noteworthy of compensation? Or do I not give him his reward or his allowance this week? You look at the timeline, linear reasoning. So it just pervades your very thought in business and in your personal life. And I've had many students, believe me, over 30 years to come back and tell me that.